Mr. Keon Sarup Singh, Mr. Calvin Sichuran, Kenwin Phillips, and Nassar Hossain. We have three of them. The missing person to this point is Mr. Kenwin Phillips. He's vice chairman of the San Grande Regional Corporation. They're all talking about flooding in their parts of the country over the last few days with the terrible weather we've had coming into the weekend just past, but several days in which many parts of the country were flooded, in some cases beyond recognition. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on. And let's start with you, Mr. Sarup Singh. Talk about the experience of yourself and the people you represent at the corporation with the experiences you went through.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andy Johnson. Thanks for having me on your show this morning. A pleasant good morning to the people of San Grande and Trinidad today. So Johnson, a couple of days now, people are still underwater in the San Grande region.
I'm not hearing you very well. I'm not sure if it's something on your end or my end, but
you hear me now?
Go ahead. That's a little better. Go ahead.
Just 1 minute. You hear me now?
Yes, a little better.
Right.
Go ahead.
Thanks very much. Again, as I was saying, thanks for having me on your show this morning, Mr. Andy Johnson. What I was indicating, for a couple of days, this flooding situation has been escalating, and the assistance is not forthcoming, Mr. Andy Johnson. For a couple of days, people are underwater. Up to yesterday, me and Councillor Marriage had the opportunity to be with a Pacific group that come and assist us in Councillor Marriage area yesterday. And if these NGOs and business personnel or groups within the electoral district of the region of San Grande, if these people then come together with us to assist families within or people within the region, people then get no assistance. And it's very frustrating, to be a flood victim and you get up and see no kind of help or relief to reach your way. And this is what we're asking for. We're asking for that, these ministries who assist families with this relief grants is to come in and start to assist some of these victims, some of these people who have been flooded out, and there's nothing forthcoming, nothing coming to the way of these families who need assistance. So we're asking, because I have people who lost every single thing in their household, everything. So now, well, the corporation, the disaster department will come and analyze the damage, the situation, what take place. But after that is the Ministry of Social Development, and we asking after all this assessment finish, asking that the Ministry of Social Development do their part and ensure that these families who are affected get some kind of relief.
All right, let me just get a sense from Mr. Sichuran now. I'll go around the table as it were, and we'll come back and go into some specifics. Mr. Sichuran, what's your?
I think Councillor Sichuran is Councillor Vice Chairman Philippe.
Yeah.
And Councillor Nassar Hossain.
Okay, so Mr. Phillips.
Yes, good morning, sir. First, let me say thanks for having us on your show, and I want to say a special good morning to the viewing public, persons from my electoral district, Manzana Fishing Pond, and by extension, the region and Trinidad and Tobago. I must say, the persons within the region, the San Grande region, was hit very hard. We had persons from Limong area, Fishing Pond area, San Chiquito area, coal mine area, persons from Veronica Bolivar, Susulan, Pat Lawrence, Baca Trace, all these areas here, persons with up to 2 feet of water in some instances and some of the homes. And the thing is, persons are frightened because since 2018, if you recall when we had the the flooding issue. It's one of the largest flooding issue our region have seen, and people in our region are still have some kind of fright what took place then. As a shower rainfall, persons keep calling for the sandbag. Now we as councillors, we try our best to assist in whatever way we can. Through the corporation, we try to assist with sandbags. But I must tell you, and I want to highlight that the Sanigrani region, the allocation we received in the last fiscal year was only 50,000 to assist persons who was affected in our region. We are one of the largest regions. We are the largest in landscape, and we have a population of over 75,000 persons living in our area. And the allocation that we received, $50,000, is just a drop in the bucket, and we would have exhausted the expenditure on that vote without receiving any funding from the allocation. We would have spent on allocation.
You need $50,000 for the entire corporation?
Yeah, and we are 8 electoral districts. We are the largest in landscape in Trinidad and Tobago by extension. And we had an allocation of $50,000. So when you talk about disaster, this government really don't care about the people in the Sanigrani region. But when you can allocate something like $50,000 to deal with over 75,000 persons in our region, that is just a drop in the bucket.
All right. When you said people in 2 feet of water in their homes, you mean not in the yard and so on. The way how the house is constructed, the house itself is under 2 feet of water.
Yeah, I must say, the Ministry of Rural Development would have embarked on a national cleanup campaign a couple months ago. They came to Sanigrani. One of the requests we as council members would have made was the equipment to do the silting work in some of these main water courses. And some of the areas that was flooded out was the areas we as council members would have identified to do the silting work in these areas and them. And for some reason, the ministry would have promised us the equipment and them to do the silting work. And to date, we have not received any piece of equipment to do the silting work.
All right, and I want to ask you to just hold your point. Let's bring in Mr. Hossain. We come back around with you all. Mr. Hossain, well, thanks for being part of this team. What's your story in terms of the people you represent and the district you represent?
Well, first of all, good morning, Ms. Andy Johnson.
Very good morning.
Trinidad and Tobago, the world, yes. Thank you for having me on your program this morning. My issue actually is, just as the other councillors, issue with flooding. Yes. There's a river that runs straight, passes through the heart of Sanigrani, all right? Regularly, there has been regular flooding through the years, good? Now, it passes through Niranjan, Picton Road, Ramda Street, Niranjan Street, Rope Singh Street, all these areas. And find that my serious issue due to, unplanned development, quarrying, deforestation, right? This causes the riverbed to the level of the bed to raise, actually, yeah, because of the siltation. And for quite some years, the river, the water courses have not been dredged, not only in my area, but probably all the electoral districts, yeah? So that you'll find that severe flooding takes place because everyone knows that when the riverbed is raised, due to siltation, any rainfall for half an hour, yes, consecutively, consistently, persistently, there will be flooding. Good. And my heart bleeds for some of those people on that day recently, I think it's Wednesday, yes. Especially persons like Jenny Charles on Niranjan Street, and not only her, neighbors opposite on the side, Niranjan Street, Ramdas Street, Picton Road, Goodhope Street, Rup Singh Street, right, which is the heart of Senegal, I would say. And dredging has not taken place. Now, I have with me here, as I said, I appeared on TV6 some time ago. This is a letter I have from the Ministry of Works.
And what's the date on it?
This is a reply, right? It's considered a request for a dredging. It's a reply from the Ministry of Works dated March the 16th, 2022. Good? If you want, I can read it.
And well, give us a sense of what it is about. Maybe you don't need to read out the whole thing.
It simply says that they are unable to dredge the river, right? Owing to houses on both sides of the river bank. Listen, I born on Green on Picton Road.
And this is a response to a request you had made for dredging.
That I had made, yes. Yeah, this is a reply from the Ministry of Works due to the letter I wrote to them. And I can tell you, they said that further study revealed that the river runs freely, which is not true, with no obstructions. Good? But also the tributaries also contributed to it. And I'm saying this here today, right? There was some dredging done sometime in 2020. But you see, the thing is now, they are dredging where the eyes can see, right? So I don't know if these contractors are up to it. Now, if you are dredging, you start from the beginning, the water course, beginning, from, like, for example, Ture, right? Coming straight down. And, of course, the river ends at the river mouth. So you don't really dredge a piece here for people to see. Good? And you'll have blockage, of course, taking place. Hence, you must have flooding.
No, I want to come back and ask you how you all propose to deal with this. I'll come around again, but Mr. Sarup Singh, so what is the position as we speak? How does the corporation itself deal with these things? And so you all are among the representatives in the corporation. How does the corporation, when you get back to around the table at what's your next statutory meeting or what have you, what's the proposal to address these issues? Or it's just it's a song and a dance that continues over a long period of time, it seems?
Sure. But basically, the corporation have no equipment to do this land, to do these mass desilted. We don't have no sort of equipment to do them large development of work. We truly based on help from the Ministry of Works, Drainage Department. So basically this morning we have basically lobbying and ensuring that or making representative for our people of our region, because Ministry of Works clearly not assisting us. So by this morning, what we hear this morning, hoping that someone in authority within these ministries are listening on, because they're playing games with the people of Sanigran. They're playing games with the people. And we are hoping that today is Monday, by today or tomorrow, some relevant personnel within the Ministry of Works, the Drainage Department, come in and have some dialogue with us, council members in the Sanigran region. Ask for if they want to have a meeting, emergency meeting with council members. We are here. We are willing. We are here to even carry them within the areas that have flooded which river courses will be desilted. We are here. We are here to assist. But basically right now, we are the Sanigran Regional Corporation. We have no sort of equipment or resources to assist within the region, because we are not getting funding. It's so much right now. We're not getting funding from the central government to assist our people, and basically that's That's our position right now.
All right, Mr. Sichuran, can you explain what is the relationship between, Councillor Philip, what is the relationship between the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Works when it comes to these things with corporations such as yours? How do you decide when you go to the Ministry of Works or you go to the Ministry of Works through the Ministry of Local Government?
Well, the corporation normally have what we call as a heads of agency meeting, where we'll have representatives from the different external agencies like Ministry of Works and all this, where we raise our issues. Since we came in there, we have been trying to lobby with these other ministries for us to keep our heads of agency meetings so we could raise this issue. But for some reason, they are saying that because of the COVID, they can't come. Now, I don't know if COVID will happen through virtual like we are doing here now, because this is an avenue we could take. However, we as council members, we have been writing to the Ministry of Works, to the ministry itself. We had a meeting, as I stated earlier on, with the Ministry of Local Government, the minister team, which would have came into the Sanigani region for us to do the cleanup campaign, and we would have highlighted some of the main water courses we as councillors would have liked to see clean to prevent this situation what we are in right now. We were promised the equipment and them from the ministry, and up to this date is going on 2 months and something now, no equipment that was promised from the Ministry of Local Government was delivered to the Sanigani region for council members to clean these water courses, which they would have identified.
And when were these promises made?
These promises were made two and a half months ago from the ministry. 2.5, they would have promised us that the equipment we were asking for, it was supposed to be 16 excavators to deal with the 8 electoral districts. They would have 2 excavators per electoral district, and we will identify, I believe, 4 water courses. I would have identified the one in Limong, where had over 3 feet of water in some instance. I would have identified Kaiwal to put the equipment there to clean some of these water courses. Kaiwal area had flooding. And let me just explain to you, a couple of earlier on this year, they would have started some major work on the Eastern Main Road, Manzalina. I would have liaised with the ministry, the minister specifically, Mr. Ram Singh from Ministry of Works, to identify some of the main crossing along the Eastern Main Road to open up, because the size of the road crossing them compared to the volume of water coming, it tends to back up on this one side of the road and cause flooding to this area. We would have go through all the crossings, about 5 or 6 crossings on the Eastern Main Road there. And the engineer at the time would have stated that he'd see no reason for enlarging these crossings on them. And these same areas which I would have identified is some of the same areas which was flooded and caused homes to be flooded out. And we as local government representatives, we would identify the problems that we face in our electoral district, and simple things like this to enlarge our water, our road crossing, to eliminate flooding in area. Lizama Trace, up to 3 feet of water, 2 feet some instances, who must completely flooded out.
All right, well, let me ask you this. As we speak now, do you know what has happened with the family whose house was under 2 feet of water?
Well, I know the disaster unit was doing their assessment. Normally, after the assessment is completed, they will send it to the Ministry of Social Services. And for some reason, we tend to have roadblocks there, because we have families since 2018 who was not compensated up to this date. And I want to believe as an outer side, outer man, because I keep telling the persons in my area who was affected to call every week. Families would have lost everything. And this government do not really care about assisting is a like a outer sight, outer mind.
Well, I'm glad you're using that term because I want to come back to Mr. Hossain. The question is, the Minister of Works, is he not a Sangre Grande person, and does that not offer any kinds of advantages to you all in treating with some of these matters?
Well, yes, well, he is born and bred in San Grande, but does not live here anymore. So I don't know if less interest is shown. I can't say, but probably maybe missing in action, MIA, you know, because I'm telling you, sir, that all that was said by Councillor Vice Chairman Philip, it's true and nothing but the truth. There are some people within my district who have not received their 2018 the flooding, you know, the little stipend or, you know, a check that will...
From 2018?
Yeah, 2018 flooding. Imagine that. I don't want to call these people names, but I can easily, you know, give you the names, you know, another time. But I am saying that, I'm coming back to that letter, I am telling you, sir, I was born and bred in Sangre. Good? And a stone's throw away from where the flooding takes place. And I can tell you that those houses that they are talking about, those houses are always there. All right? Probably one or two may have been built, you know, next to on the side of the river bank. But dredging was done. Growing up as a little boy, seeing that dredging was done regularly. Good? And of course, it narrows the water course. Yes, apart from raising the riverbed. You see? So the current capacity of these water courses become null and void, no more, little or no. So hence you have the runoff, you know, not moving as quickly as it's supposed to. And you have the backup, you know, the next. Because I've seen contractors, for example, in the Coca, the Picton extension, where contractors, they dredge, they scrape the, you know, the grass off the top, and not actually digging or dredging the water course to create levees and embankments, which prevents overflow, you see? And it's where the eyes can see. But I'm talking about when you're dredge the entire water course, because there will be backup, of course. So I mean, every water course flows straight into the sea. You have the river mouths and so on.
Right. So let's go around. Let's go around, Mr. Sarup Singh. Well, yeah. I mean, so what is going to happen this time around? So it will just be so people's claims back up on each other, and you go back to the next meeting. I'm trying to figure out what will happen the next time you have a meeting of the entire council raising these matters.
Well, Mr. Andy, I will get you to the point. We come to beat around the bush. I will get you to the point. Basically, what the points where we bring in across this morning, basically, if you get a sense of what taking place, is petty politics with people live in Sandy Grande. because we are UNC representative, so to speak, these ministries are not assisting people in our region. They're not getting assistance, and I see it unfair to some of these poor families who in need of assistance, and because of petty politics, because we are UNC members, these people in our region are profiled as UNC supporters, and this is unacceptable because these people are taxpayers. They pay the tax on time. There's working people, working family, and the same way how all of us pay our tax, these people are paying tax. And today, we are calling on the ministry again. I'm calling on the Minister of Works and Transport. I'm calling on the Minister of Social Development. We asking, we begging for the people of our region. People of our region need assistance. Because basically here, what we are doing here, we are lobbying for the people of our region because they are in a sort of no assistance.
But the people who are inconvenienced by this and badly circumstanced by the natural elements, they are not all UNC people, is that right? But the corporation itself, Right.
You're correct, but it is if you come from a particular part of, let me say, Kumoto Manzilna, right, and have people living within Kumoto Tamna who get flood out. Some of these officers live in the region of San Grande, and if, let me say, the pastors saw them campaigning with a particular party, and they work in the ministry now, them actually recognize these people within a party. And I say this is unfair. This is unfair to people livelihood.
So it's
Come on,
political. It's political victimization. That's what you're saying.
Correct is right. Correct.
Yeah. Well, is that your experience as well, Mr. Phillips?
I would say yes, because Kumoto Manzana is traditionally known for UNC area, and we hear other areas, other persons saying that they receive, but we have other persons in the area saying that they didn't receive anything. I have a guy in Chevron Drive there who roof was completely blown off. I think as last year when we had a freak storm, we would have did the disaster unit would have did everything that they had to do, and to date, the gentleman is renting because he did not receive any assistance to fix back his roof. And this is where we are. We have persons, I have families who would have lost everything since 2018, and to date, no kind of assistance from the ministry. And one will tell what is their procedure in assessing these persons and them. And for me, I believe that councillors throughout the country should play a very important role, because we are the ones on the ground. We are the ones who work with the disaster unit. And I heard you ask Olaman Sarup saying, what is our role as a councillor when we sit at the next meeting?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, the council, as I state, we get releases under particular head. And as I stated earlier on, the vote for last fiscal year was $50,000. We have not sat in any meetings, so I cannot confirm the amount that we receive in this fiscal year. But I don't want to put my hopes up high, because I know this government have a tend to disappoint person, and I'm not expecting more than 50,000 because I how they value the persons in the San Grande region.
All right,
this government will do anything they want. If it means that the people of San Grande have to suffer for they to make the UNC run corporation look bad, they will do that.
All right,
that is the mentality.
Let me get a response from Mr. Hussain, because we have to wrap it up.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson, you know, the day after the flood, right, I walked through those areas that were affected by the flooding, most of the areas. And after doing so, I submitted a list to the Disaster Management Unit of the San Grande Regional Corporation. Good. Now, the thing is that while walking through, people were asking for disinfectants, cleaning materials, and so on, right? I was told that an assessment has to be made before those cleaning materials are given out. Now, the thing is that suppose the assessment is made 3 days after the flood, so those people wait for that kind of assistance. I've seen where 4 feet of water in Niranjan Street, right, Ramdas Street, you know, and there must be something in place where after looking at the Met Service warnings, because we see satellite pictures and so on, you know, an emergency meeting should, you know, be kept 2 days before, 3 days before. I also have lobbied, right? I had to go and beg for transport and so on. Good. Now, I don't mind, there are people who are willing to volunteer. But all councillors, I actually brought up the issue that the corporation should provide at least 4 persons, you know, I mean, they give the council an opportunity to employ 4 persons for that particular day, right? And also for the cleanup, you know, in the other day. For each electoral district, for at least 4 persons, you see? Because there are many, many unemployed persons. We could be classified with all the minerals and wealth that comes from the Sarangani region.
All right, so you all make proposals such as these, and they're not taken on board. They're not taken on by the people who make the decisions. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is it, and which is most important for on that particular people. There are old people who can't. Another thing too, there should be things in place where assistance is given by way of transport to disabled persons with sandbags and so on, old people, pensioners, and so on. Now, most times the trend or the process is that these people should collect their sandbags themselves. That is for those with transport.
All right, so this is an issue that continues, and you all don't see.
It continues.
You all don't
I've
see.
been there for 3 years. Yeah, going into 3 years.
You all don't see any resolution of this at the end of the day, right? Let me just get a brief comment from both of you, other gentlemen, Mr. Sarab Singh and Mr. Phillips. Says we have to go to break, but you'll see no immediate solution on behalf of the people you represent, right, Mr. Sarab Singh?
Yeah,
you all see no easy resolution, no resolution in sight for these issues, for these people who are affected like this by, every time there's heavy rain.
Well, this morning, we have a crisis meeting in the Sarangani Regional Corporation. Well, hopefully, this will be one of the topics, and today we will express our disappointment in certain areas of the Sarangani region. Today, we will have some discussion with the Chairman of Council, the rest of Council members this morning, and this will be one of the topics and our way forward.
All right. Well, we want to thank you all very much, and let's see. We take a check back in. You wanna have a final word, Mr. Phillips?
Yeah. I just want to add to it what Councillor Nasser said about the 4 persons per electoral district. Now, as a council, we would have took a decision by resolution for each electoral district to be allocated 4 persons in the time of this disaster like this. Because we have persons coming in for sandbags and not even knowing how to pack the sandbags properly. And if you don't pack the sandbags properly, you will not get the purpose of the sandbag. So these 4 persons would have been trained in the way that they pack the sandbags to assist the elderly or to even assist in when you're doing transportation to drop off the sandbags. And we have a CEO in the corporation that they're saying now that this cannot be done. My first term as councillor, I was the chairman of disaster, and this was one of the recommendations put forward by myself and other members of council. The then CEO with the then chairman, we would have saw it fit, and we would have implemented that thing. So we would have had it in my first term between 2016 to 2019. In this term, we would, by resolution, we will pass the same resolution to execute the same thing with the 4 persons. And this CEO, what we have here, she failed to carry out the instruction by council. The people are left. We have old persons coming to stand up by the disaster unit asking for sandbags and don't even have transportation. Don't even know how to pack the sandbag, but we're giving them. I saw some of the sandbags packed, and I'm the chairman of disaster, and people not using the sandbags properly.
All right,
so
there's much more to go into there too. There's much more to be gone into there. You said you'll have this meeting today. Let's see how we could get back on this later on in the week, or we'll find a day to come back on it, right?
But before we go, if you permit me, I'm asking that the Ministry of Social Services expedite these requests to assist
the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. So they are requesting there that they should look after. That's what you're saying. All right, well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Alderman Sarab Singh, Councillors Phillips and Hossain. Thank you all very much. Well, let's see what transpires. We will check back on this in due course. Thank you all very much.
Thanks very much.
All right, we will take a break, and when we come back, Rhonda Hackett talking with people who have to move from that Crown Point area to make way for the expansion of the airport district, for the new airport. What is the position? People's terms and conditions for moving have not been satisfactorily addressed at this point. Stay with us.
Just when you thought you knew about essences, Chief Brand has changed the game. Whether you splash, dash, or sprinkle, these and others have been perfected and bottled just for you. Chief Essences by Chief Brand Products.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
The best for your baby is at thebesttoys.com. From the best strollers, car seats, baby carriers, high chairs, booster seats, rockers, jumpers and bouncers, walkers, baby blankets, feeding accessories, bathtubs. Visit us in-store at Forces Flagship McLean. Shop online now at thebesttoys.com. Order via call or WhatsApp at 332-BABY. And remember, we have the best toys at the best prices.
Welcome back to the program. Our guest now is Ms. Rhonda Hackett. She's the chairperson of an organization, the acronym of which is PEECE. What it stands for is to provide equivalent, equitable compensation to everyone. That has to do with the people who are required to move from where they now live in parts of the Crown Point district to make way for further expansion of the area to be controlled by the soon-to-come expanded Crown Point A&R Robinson International Airport. There are a couple of families still in that situation where, at least from their point of view, what they're being offered to move location is not sufficient, is not equivalent, is not equipped, is not equitable. Rhonda Hackett is the chairperson of that organization speaking for them. Well, it's good to see you. Let's talk about what the situation is.
Good morning to the listening audience, and thank you for the opportunity for being here. Now, as the current situation weighs, the major residents, the 7 families who were within the area earmarked for construction, have been evacuated from the area, and currently no one has been paid any form of compensation for their property. Now, it is said out there that residents have been paid and they are unwilling to accept the compensation. They are unwilling to move. What has actually happened, the funds that were provided by the state and not necessarily funds that are the value of their property, but funds that the state decided to pay the residents, this has been paid to the court. And for residents to access this money, they have to now administrate or apply for it. When one resident inquired as to what is the process, what is the sum, it was in the tune of over $100,000. And these individuals don't have these large sums of money just floating around that they can use immediately to their advantage. And as such, residents have been evicted from their homes. Homes have been completely demolished with no compensation in hand to move forward. And this is grossly inadequate. It is a total abuse of power on the part of the government, and this does not represent justice.
They say that everybody has been moved, either voluntarily or not, but I thought there were some people who were still holding out for better terms and conditions, so to speak.
No, that is correct. There was the 7 families who were holding out for better terms of conditions. As you are aware, there was a court hearing, and the entire process was one that was seemingly staged. The attorneys weren't selected by the residents. There was an uphill battle between the attorneys and the residents. The entire case was done surrounding only one family. They were able to influence this family, and as such, the entire case eventually got thrown out. So the residents' interest was never represented, and the outcome is everyone was removed from the location, home was demolished, and are currently still waiting on compensation. And to illustrate the extent to which this abuse of power was exhibited, there were 4 homes. Residents made their utmost best to have themselves removed from their properties in spite of the circumstances. There were 4 homes with their roofs already removed, and they had evacuated. There was 1 family remaining who had 90% of their property already removed, a family of 7. And last week, Friday, when TEMA was busy trying to save persons from this bad weather and save persons' homes, the state would have moved in on this family around 5 o'clock in the morning. They put them out in the rain. This family had children ranging from young adults to a toddler at 3 years, and they were put out in the rain at 5 o'clock in the morning, and their home was demolished. There were 4 other houses that they could have selected to demolish on that day that had no roof on the house, but they chose to put out a family in the rain. And I am saying to all of Trinidad and Tobago, this is a sad time in Trinidad and Tobago, because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So I don't think anyone should feel comfortable knowing that this type of action can be taken by the state, because it means if it can happen to that family, anybody else can be treated with this level of injustice. And to date, no one has been paid any compensation, not even the money that they're willing to give individuals. Substandard payment, because the monies that are paid, it cannot rebuild the homes. They are paying you at prices several years ago how much it will cost you to build a house back then, but not how much it will cost you to build your home, rebuild the home today. And this is not equitable, it is not justice.
So where are those people now?
Many of them are either at families or in rental property at this time.
And who is to foot the bill of the rental properties?
Now, the THA had indicated that they are willing to assist. There is nothing in writing. There has so far been a major lag on their part. They have expressed more promises than actions. Even in terms of what has taken place, we have met with the THA, and the arrangement that was originally agreed upon was that the THA will meet and take on the state in terms of treating with this matter. What ended up being the process that unfolded was that residents were made to face the state all by themselves, and the whole process was staged and manipulated to the point where residents are now out of their homes without compensation. And the impression that is being given by the chairman of NITCO, by the parliamentary representative for Tobago West, and other individuals is that the persons have been paid and they are unwilling to move out from the area. That is far from the truth. The monies were paid to the court, and the residents have to pay huge sums of money in the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I am saying that better can be done. If residents are expected to move out from an area for the construction of the terminal, then the government that is seeking to remove them should have done by far better. I have seen better done in Trinidad, and I don't know what is the reason for this abuse of power and advantage of persons' human rights and being treated in a dignified manner. Today is a very sad day in Trinidad and Tobago with the manner in which Tobagonians have been treated by the state. And I am not pleased thus far with how the THA has responded to this matter, and they need to come up to standard.
Well, right, because you said that the THA was not involved really in the process, although there has been reporting, or they had been reporting, that the THA said it would come on the side of the residents, not so?
The assistance that has been given is grossly inadequate. Based on all that has happened, it almost seems as if agreement was made with the THA and the state just to get the people out, because that is all that has happened so far. There has been no written agreement. There has been no deed of comfort. There has been absolutely nothing but persons grossly removed in an inhumane manner from their homes and are still left hanging. And I am expressing on behalf of all of the residents that we are totally disappointed, totally dissatisfied, and much better has to be done and can be done. And all of Trinidad and Tobago need to know that this is not how you treat with your citizens. They have been put out in a very inhumane manner. The compensation has been grossly inadequate. And yet, the impression that is given is that we are being unrealistic, we are being dishonest, and we don't wish to have this level of pain since 2018 to now be prolonged. Residents want to move on with their lives, and they are being advantaged by the state. There is a common saying or an adage, I don't know if the public knows it: who has more corn feed more fowl. And yes, to me, this is what is taking place. And better can be done. The state should not be advantaging its citizen in the manner in which this has been long. This matter has never been dealt with properly by the state. And they have exercised their iron fist by throwing out a family of 7 in the rain on Friday and would have demolished their home. They were 90% completed with their evacuation. There were 4 buildings standing with no roof that they could have demolished, but they wanted to exercise that advantage and of power specifically on that family. That is poor on the part of the state. Trinidad and Tobago, look out, please be warned. If it could happen here, it can happen anywhere. We need to stand up against injustice. And I am still pleading with the state. Better can be done. Do better on the part of your citizens. You are dealing with human beings. We are to be treated in a humane manner. My heart bleeds greatly for how that family was treated on Friday. I was there at the scene. I was there at the site. The police treat them as if it's criminals they were dealing with, and they throw them out in the rain during the storm when TEMA was trying to save other families and their home.
What else
My heart is bleeding.
What else is a kind of recourse to your organization to this?
We are saying at this point in time, now that you have the residents out from their homes, the compensation that is due to them, those monies should be sent to their account. Persons should not be told that their monies are paid to the court and they have to now go and administrate. They cannot begin to have their lives brought back together to have absolutely nothing done. They are now in rental properties, and there's a false impression that is being given. The state needs to provide these individuals with their money so that they can start rebuilding their home and their lives. They need to take the account numbers and have those monies sent in those accounts to these individuals. This is my request. It has been done. It can be done. I am requesting that the monies that are paid to the court be placed in the individual's account.
What is the rationale for whichever agency made the payment and placed it in the courts as to why they did that?
Now, around July 6th, all 7 residents were given an eviction notice, and they were supposed to be out by August 6th, and pending that time after August the 10th, eviction and evacuation of the property was to be exercised or taken on by the Commissioner of State Land. When they embarked on that process, everybody's monies were paid to the court. And as such, that is currently the state, and no one is able to access these funds. The monies could have been paid to person's account. They have said that it is placed in an escrow account. But if the monies are paid to the court, then they have to administrate for it. Before, monies were placed in an escrow account and some form of process would or can be used for persons to access the money. I am saying I am not familiar with the entire process, but for persons who would have already left, monies were placed in their account or a check was written. Either of the two can be done so persons can access the monies that are due to them. Paying the money to the court, then having to administrate in the tune of thousands of dollars is gross unfair treatment to these residents who are already in a very disadvantaged position.
Is it to be understood then that the residents themselves are now going to have to finance the administration of those accounts in order to get their money? They will have to pay to get it?
Now, as long as the THA or the powers that be do not step in and assist this process, this is what would have to happen. Hence the reason no one has been able to do anything whatsoever at this point in time, because the fact of the matter is they do not have that sum of money. And I believe the state is aware of this fact and is abusing its power by acting in this grossly inhumane manner. Pay the monies in persons' accounts so that they can truly move on.
That is the state in Port of Spain, so to speak, not necessarily the state in Scarborough.
Yes, central government, not the THA.
Yeah, but you're saying that
this
the THA
project
somehow
is being handled by the central government.
Yeah, but you're also saying somehow that the THA didn't live up to the end of the bargain that it said it would have, to be by the side of the residents in the way that one got a sense that they were going to do.
Precisely that. There has been more talk than action. And I am saying to the THA, you need to walk your talk. There is more talk. The only thing that the THA has done so far is assist the state in moving the residents out of their homes. We are dissatisfied and better can be done. Yeah. The attorneys that they brought acted against the residents. The whole process seemed like a stage one. They would have selected one of the residents, manipulated their operation. That was the only case that was represented in the court, and at the end of it all, everyone is now out of their homes and are still struggling. How could that be justice on the part of the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the THA? We expect much better.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Hackett. We're going to have to leave it there. Rhonda Hackett, chairperson of this organization called PEECE, provide equivalent, equitable compensation to everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for the opportunity.
You're very welcome. We will take a break. When we come back, my discussion with Mr. Oral Saunders. He's a representative of the organization known as the Network of Male Nursing Personnel, about an incident which took place at the St. Anne's, the mental institution there, and what they're calling for better arrangements for people who work there. Stay with us.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
I have been shopping at Price Club from the beginning. I love most of all the friendliness of the staff.
I shop here because my children love meat and I love meat.
My favorite section is the vegetarian section. They have such a wide variety, which I love.
I have been out shopping, to check out the prices, but here at the lowest, it's the best.
I have tried other places and I came right back to Price Club because they are the low price leader.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers? Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the content capital.
Let your voice be heard. Call Madam Fix It on WESN, the only place that effectively helps you with your woes. Having problems getting onto government agencies, water woes, NIS and pension problems, potholes, and much, much more. Call me, Madam Fix It, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on WESN. Let me fix it for you.
Diwali is in the air again, and Royal Castle reminds you to try its yummy veggie burger. The Royal Castle veggie burger is great on its own or in a combo with a side and a 16-ounce drink. And it's healthy too. A nutritious patty made with oats, lentils, chana, potatoes, and carrot, inside a soft bun with tomatoes and lettuce. So for this season, try the Castle's tasty and healthy veggie burger. Shubh Diwali from Royal Castle.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing now, Andy.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Paul?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the red, white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Welcome back to the program. Well, Oral Saunders is a representative of an organization known as the Network of Male Nursing Personnel. There was an incident at the mental institution in St. Anne's a couple of days ago involving one of the clients there and one or more of the people on duty. I spoke with him about it one day last week. All right, so I want to start by asking you to tell us what may have happened between the time that this incident happened or the day in which it happened and now as we speak.
Well, first and foremost, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. Johnson, for having me this morning, having us as a team of persons. It is always an honor to be interviewed by your goodly self, sir. We see you as one of the most senior and prolific journalists in Trinidad and Tobago. But to answer your question, I can say that the management has done some work in terms of securing our seclusion areas, and those works are ongoing. We believe it is a good start, but obviously we really honestly believe that the hospital of itself, due to its age, and persons may know or may not know that our hospital, St. Anne's Hospital, is really over 100 years old. And what we are seeing is that our acute violent patients, no matter how much work we do on certain areas, those persons, because of their sheer strength, they are actually destroying the equipment on a regular basis. So, in other words, it's always an ongoing task to have persons secured at St. Anne's Hospital.
Yeah, you described this incident as having been a vicious attack by a patient at the hospital, and one of your colleagues suffered a severe lower limb injury, and this happened, you said, in the early hours of the morning, at 2:30 in the morning.
Yes, that would happen actually on Republic Day, September the 24th. But I would also want to hasten to add, this is one of the more significant incidents that would have occurred. But if it is, you were to look throughout the years at St. Anne's Hospital, there continues to be several incidents, not only occurring against my male colleagues, but also against female colleagues. Even doctors would have been attacked at certain times, their vehicles and so forth. So this is very, this is nothing new, but it is simply significant, and therefore we believe that our open and frank discussion about mental health as in the future with the ministry would actually, give them ideas that we believe we need to share with them. And to the Honorable Minister of Health's credit, he has indicated that mental health will be or is one of his focus points going forward, and therefore we believe that we are all on the same page. We just need to speak to one another and get things moving.
How regular a feature this is?
Well, I can't say, in regards to its regularity, but what I can say is its consistency, because you never know. No matter what, you just simply never know. And one of the critical areas that causes these incidents is the acute shortage of staff, especially male nursing personnel. And we have some areas, and because persons must know that St. Anne's Hospital is really, in our humble opinion, a national hospital. We don't only admit under the nation's sectorization process in terms of mental health. And sectorization simply means the country has been broken up. If it is you're in Port of Spain, you're in Sector 5, and Tobago, you're in Sector 5. If you're from South Trinidad, like myself, you're in Sector 4. If you're in Central, you're in Sector 3, 3A, and so forth. But we admit patients at St. Anne's Hospital wherever they become unmanageable. So even if you were at Fernando General Hospital on Ward 1 and you become unmanageable to the staff there, what happens is that you are actually transferred to St. Anne's Hospital. So because our hospital is a national hospital, we believe a different approach to recruiting male nursing personnel must play a pivotal role, because there have been attempts in the past to recruit male nursing personnel, and it has been a very huge challenge. And it's simple to understand why it is a challenge. In comparison to this, in comparison to the other services, let's say, for example, police, fire, Coast Guard, persons who enter training in those services, they receive almost a salary. And their program of training really lasts between roughly 6 to 8 months, 8 to 9 months. Now, the lowest level of nursing personnel in St. Anne's Hospital or in the profession of nursing is an enrolled nursing assistant. And that person will be trained for roughly 2.5 to 3 years. And in terms of a nurse, a registered mental nurse, that person is trained for roughly 3.5 years to 4 years. And if it is the person is pursuing a degree program, then you go in excess of 5 years. And during that period of time, a student is actually paid a stipend. And that stipend in the first instance ranges for roughly $1,200 to $1,300. Now, Mr. Johnson, I mean, in today's society in 2022, which man, even if it is he would have been successful at college, earning a full certificate in excess of 5 CXC passes, CSEC passes, how many of them will be prepared to be in a program receiving $1,200, $1,400, or even $1,500, $1,600 for roughly 3 years? I mean, that in itself, and you juxtapose that if it is he were to join the fire service or the police or prison service. So therein lies a significant challenge. And then on top of that, to add injury to insult, even when we do get few men to come through the system and be trained, they are placed on contract. Now, the president of the TTRNA, my comrade, Mr. Edie Stewart, has been on national television ad nauseum explaining, begging, beseeching the government of Trinidad and Tobago to put some mechanism in place to have nurses come off of contract and placed on permanent employment. And we want to endorse his overtures, because these men are so important for psychiatric nursing especially, that if it is they are even trained, they are being wooed overseas. They are being wooed in other entities, and out of frustration, we lose them. So our rate of attrition in terms of persons reaching retirement age, in terms of persons being promoted, in terms of persons leaving nursing as a whole, whether they are promoted to mental health officers or psychiatric social workers, we are losing men. And the cadre of men that remain are having to work double time, and we don't have enough of us to really adequately staff the hospital.
All right, so what do you know about the response of the authorities on that question about developing a cadre of males in the system, as well as the issue of the concentration of contract work as opposed to permanent employment? What do you know to be the position of the authorities and the government as in taking those positions, that position?
Well, we cannot say other than what we see. And what we are seeing is that the contract employment continues. I will not want to venture to say that something isn't being done by the ministry via the RHAs. However, we are saying that enough is not being done, and it is not being done in a timely manner, because we need these men. You know, we need them. We need the manpower. We need their strength. We need their resources. And something has to be placed differently. We must do something differently if it is we want to get a different outcome. And we have some suggestions, but we would like to place those suggestions before the Honorable Minister. And it's not just about money, because at the end of the day, the nursing profession as a whole is really seen as a more female profession, and therefore we are thankful for a program like yours, Mr. Johnson, where persons will recognize that there is something called a male nurse, and it is important, and we have vacancies. I am sure there are hundreds of men looking at this program, or even their parents are looking at this program right now, and they are saying to themselves, yes, I have a son at home. He has more than 5 CXC, including CSEC, sorry. Well, you know, I'm from the old school. CSEC qualifications, and he is able-bodied, he's unemployed, he's looking for something to do. And I'm sure there are hundreds, as I said, out there, but they never saw male nursing as an option. And it is, this task has been taken up by the network of male nursing personnel to highlight that there is such a category of staff, there is such a category of men in the society, and we need you to join with us, so that you, as long as you are brave, as long as you are bold, and as long as you care for persons, we want you to be a part of our team. So we would be doing a lot of outreach initiatives, pursuing a lot of outreach initiatives to try to assist. And if one of those outreach initiatives is speaking with the ministry to assist them in their ability to attract men, we are more than able and more than welcoming of such initiatives.
Well, I suppose you know that I have a younger brother who spent his entire working life as one of you.
Yes, he's actually a senior member of the nursing team, and if that is a perfect example, because in terms of that gentleman, your brother, our comrade, he would have worked his entire working life at our institution, and he has since retired. But because of the acute shortage, he has been able to come back now on contract. But I am not sure how long he will want to stay on contract, because he would have, gotten his entire remuneration packages and so forth. So that is just a clear indication, and I'm so thankful that you would have made the analogy of how short it is, that in terms of staff shortages.
And he's a fitness coach and trainer now and all them kind of things.
Right, and due to the COVID and other issues, the physical education department of the hospital has been closed down. So someone with that qualification and that passion that the other Mr. Johnson has, his efforts would have been stymied in terms of him being able to go to the wards and try to pursue activities to burn the time, so to speak, for our patients, both males and females.
All right,
so we also believe it's important for that avenue to be restarted, that physical education aspect of the hospital.
Right. What is the nature of the incident? You say your colleague was viciously attacked, and it happened early in the morning. And what exactly transpired, as far as you know, and what is the regularity with which these things happen?
Well, I wouldn't want to go into the specifics, but I can generally speak that any nursing personnel entering St. Anne's Hospital is susceptible to injuries. It is sad. We can do as much as we can under the circumstances to try to minimize such, but there are other factors that come into play. And one of those examples I can share with the national community is relatives and friends of patients. They come into the organization and they ask to see their relatives, and we allow those visits. But even behind the backs of the nurses, they go at strategic areas of the ward, and those patients would have broken windows, they would have used air ventilation sections of the hospital, and they send down pieces of cloth that they make sort of like a makeshift roof. And these relatives places all sorts of things, sometimes illegal drugs, which is counterproductive to the work we are doing as staff. And God alone knows what else they smuggle up there. Cell phones, razor blades, hacksaw blades, all these sort of various things. And sadly, nursing personnel were not trained for the security aspect that we have found ourselves in. And we are also clamoring for training and collaborations being made with the Commissioner of Prisons and definitely the Commissioner of Police, because there are certain aspects of our training that will be life-saving that we are not privy to. We were trained to provide nursing services, but because of the advancement of how these patients think and the gang culture as well, the gang culture has infiltrated the hospital where patients are threatening nurses. They are marking your vehicles, so to speak, as they would say. They are marking our vehicles. And it is just a matter of time, as far as we are concerned, for some untoward incident, too horrific to even verbalize this morning, to happen. So there are several issues of a serious nature that can avoid a reoccurrence of what transpired with our colleague. And we wish and pray to God that he continues to recuperate. We can thank the administration of the hospital and our staff and our doctors at Port of Spain, our colleagues, for all the hard work they continue to do to take care of our colleague and even our own nursing administration, and also the leadership of the Northwest Regional Health Authority, our CEO. We believe there's a brand new CEO there, Mr. Blake, I am advised his name is, and my information from our comrade is that he is being taken care of, and we are very much appreciative of all the interventions of our managers in terms of Mr. Elegor's recuperation.
You say the friends and relatives of patients engage in providing surreptitiously prohibited items to them. You talk about sending information or articles through the cloth rope means.
It is a very serious concern, and that is because anyone can easily access where Ward 8 especially is, or other wards when nurses are doing their duties. We can't be doing our duties and have to police every angle. And although there are cameras, the cameras are actually on the inside of the area where we could, take a look at what is going on in most instances when the cameras are working. But relatives and these patients, they come with a culture that they would have learned from being incarcerated at some point in time. None of these nurses at St. Anne's Hospital have been incarcerated. So we don't understand, we don't know. It's only on observation, or if somebody may call us to alert us, hey, listener, I just noticed somebody sending up some things, go and check it out. And by that time, we go down into the dorms to try to figure out what it is. We are at a loss because we don't know who are the players involved. We don't know where they hid the items, the prohibited items. So it is indeed a significant challenge. So these are just some of the, and those challenges could be life-threatening, because who's to say one of these guys who meet up with one of their enemies on the ward doesn't get a gun sent up to the ward so that they could execute someone. It is that serious. I know persons may say that Mr. Saunders is sounding like an alarmist this morning, but this is our reality. And we, as I said before, the male nursing personnel of the hospital, we came together and shared our experiences, and it is in sharing those experiences, supporting each other professionally and otherwise, we recognized that there was need for a body such as the network of male nursing personnel.
Yeah, you said that in some cases, some of the patients have had prior prison experience because they would have committed crimes, whether they were fully conscious of what they were doing or not. And it is in that process that they probably were assessed and analyzed and then regarded as people who should be in the mental institution. but you're saying that some of them have, well, a violent past.
Yes, they do. And not only sometimes in those instances, but drug-induced psychosis. When they come into the hospital, they may have not been sleeping for a few days well. They would have been using marijuana, cocaine, and the list goes on and on. So they are really not in their conscious self, and they are very much violent because they see us as male nursing personnel as prison officers. Because unlike other hospitals where persons voluntarily go because they see a need, very few of our patients will voluntarily come to St. Anne's Hospital. And someone who comes to St. Anne's Hospital voluntarily will not function in a violent manner in most instances. So we have urgent admission patients, persons who the police would have apprehended based on several complaints, or their relatives would have gotten the support of other relatives to apprehend, detain those persons, bring them in. The prison service bring persons to our hospital. They are handcuffed. The police, they have their tasers, they have their guns, they have their handcuffs, they have the power of the police service. And they are bringing these persons and they are relinquishing their authority to us, civilians. And we now, who do not have that military training, have to keep these persons subdued and begin the process of them rehabilitating and being ready to return to society. So sometimes it is a challenge, as I said, because they view us as being the person detaining them against their will, especially those first-time admission patients. They do not believe they have a mental problem. They do not believe that smoking marijuana, using cocaine is affecting them adversely. And why are you keeping me here? I want to go home. I have things to do. And that is where the antagonism is. And in many instances, we are able to diffuse it because of our training in terms of what we are trying to get through to them. But in some instances, we are unable to, or it takes a longer period to assist this individual to get back to a state of mental wellness. So therefore, that in itself is also a significant concern to the male nursing staff. That process, when we do enter into a period where we have persons who are taking a longer period to settle down, they remain violent, and even when they appear settled, they are still so volatile. They can get into fights with other patients, and once they get into a fight with other patients, we as nursing personnel, male nurses, we have to intervene.
Yeah, so
in intervening, we can be also hurt.
Yeah. All right, we have a couple of minutes left. So in the immediate, you are asking for a larger complement of people like yourselves, and better training and preparation to deal with these instances, or the possibility that these instances are part of a constant part of the diet that you all function with.
And in addition to what you would have said, we are also asking for a new hospital. And we believe in speaking with the Honorable Minister, we will be able to put forward those issues, because we have infrastructure challenges based on the age of the hospital, the risk that these male nursing personnel and other female counterparts have to endure on a daily basis is a challenge. And of course, the significant staff shortage in terms of our rate of attrition, as I would have spoken about before. So those are our key areas that we would like to see addressed, because we believe once it is addressed, we will be able to save the lives and limbs of ourselves, our colleagues, and even our very said patients. And what we are speaking about is not in variance with what the Honorable Minister of Health would have publicly spoken about in the past. And we believe, as I said before, we are all on the same page. We just need to communicate with each other and take this discussion on the level of the ministry, because, as I said, psychiatric nursing, especially St. Anne's Hospital, really must be a national issue. And as we continue to traverse this economic hardships that most persons are going through, we recognize that the need for St. Anne's Hospital and our other areas throughout the regions is of a greater need, because persons definitely will need more help to maintain their mental wellness, as opposed to allowing persons to become mentally unwell and have to be admitted to St. Anne's Hospital. But it is an attraction to some men to smoke because it is now decriminalized to a certain extent, and many of them do not understand that it may have an adverse reaction on their mental wellness than they are prepared to accept.
All right, thank you very much, my friend. Oral Saunders, a representative of the Network of Male Nursing Personnel in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome, Mr. Johnson. Do have a pleasant day. And to all my nursing colleagues, we love you, we support you, and the Network of Male Nursing Personnel, we are here to go forward with you.
All right, well, that's our broadcast for this edition of the program. We thank you for watching. We thank our guests. I'm Andy Johnson. We see you next time. Stay with us.
WESN.
Diwali Passport, brought to you by Benjamin Moore.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your